Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into a topic that gets twisted, debated, exaggerated, and misreported more often than your aunt's Facebook feed. The real picture of Muslim-majority communities across the United States. You'd be surprised how many American cities have thriving, tight-knit Muslim populations that shape the food scene, the neighborhoods, the small businesses, and the entire cultural rhythm of daily life. And no, this isn't fear-mongering or myth-busting. It's just taking a clear look at communities that have been growing for decades, but rarely get talked about without someone mixing emotion into math. So grab a coffee, something stronger than the Wi-Fi in half the Midwest, and enjoy this tour of America's most Muslim-influenced cities, where the call to prayer blends with car horns, halal bakeries sit next to hardware stores, and decades of immigration have created pockets of life that feel like a blend of Detroit, Damascus, Dhaka, and Dallas, all in the same zip code. Take Chicago, for example, a massive, multicultural machine that has welcomed Muslim communities since the early 1900s, from Syrian traders to Bosnian laborers, to African-American Islamic movements that shaped entire neighborhoods, and later South Asian doctors and business owners who realized the city had all the opportunity of New York without the New York-level suffering. You walk through neighborhoods and you'll pass Pakistani groceries, Arab bakeries, West African restaurants, and mosques that have been running longer than some skyscrapers have existed, all contributing to a Muslim presence that, depending on who you ask, lands somewhere in the high single digits to low double digits percentage-wise across the city. Then there's Houston, the everything capital of the South, where the Muslim community grew fast, fueled by waves of engineers, medical professionals, entrepreneurs, and immigrants who loved the Texas sunshine and tolerated the traffic because the city's cultural openness gave them space to build schools, mosques, and entire neighborhoods where Ramadan lights make the suburbs glow. Houston's diversity is so extreme that you can drive 5 minutes and go from Nigerian halal barbecue to Pakistani chai cafes to Iranian bakeries, and the Muslim population, however you slice the data, sits comfortably in the hundreds of thousands across the metro area. Over in Newark, New Jersey, the story is just as interesting. West African, Senegalese, Malian, Arab, and South Asian families have built a Muslim presence so rooted that you'll find mosques tucked between corner stores, halal restaurants drawing crowds from surrounding cities, and communities that are known for being some of the safest and most stable areas in town. Census numbers never tell the full story, but step into the neighborhoods and you'll see just how central the Muslim presence is to everyday life. Philadelphia brings its own history, especially with one of the largest African-American Muslim communities in the country, joined later by Somali, Palestinian, and Pakistani families who helped expand the city's already deep Islamic roots. Philly's mosques, youth centers, schools, and halal restaurants form a network that stretches well beyond the downtown skyline. And if you've ever spent a Friday afternoon anywhere around 52nd Street, you already know how alive the community feels. Brooklyn, of course, needs no introduction. It's practically a world atlas in borough form. Walk a few blocks in Bay Ridge and you'll find decades-old Arab enclaves. Head to Kensington or Midwood and you enter massive South Asian Muslim neighborhoods, turn into Flatbush, and suddenly you're in the middle of thriving West African Muslim communities. If Brooklyn were its own city, and honestly, it basically is, it would be one of the largest Muslim hubs in the country, full stop. Jersey City continues that trend across the river, with Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Egyptian, Sudanese and West African families filling neighborhoods with halal markets, calligraphy shops, prayer halls, cafes and restaurants that make the city feel like a cultural crossroads squeezed into a commuter zone. Then there's Bridgeview, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago that has become a central hub for Palestinian Americans, built around one of the Midwest's most active Islamic centers. Drive through on a weekend and you'll pass Arab bakeries, grocery stores stocked with brands from across the Middle East, families walking to prayer, and streets that can feel like a festival crowd during major holidays. Paterson, New Jersey, adds even more flavor to the list with its famous Little Ramallah, a neighborhood that wears its Middle Eastern identity proudly with Syrian, Palestinian and Jordanian businesses lining the streets, bakeries selling pastries you can smell from 3 blocks away, and a Muslim presence that shapes the politics, culture and energy of the community. Then there's Hamtramck, Michigan, a city that has transformed dramatically over the decades, from Polish dominant to one of the most Muslim-represented local governments in the nation. Yemeni, Bangladeshi and Bosnian families have opened restaurants, grocery stores, auto shops and cafes, filling the streets with aromas of biryani, fresh bread and cardamom tea. And the call to prayer is such a normal part of the soundscape that even non-Muslims barely register it as anything out of the ordinary. And finally, you reach Dearborn, Michigan, the powerhouse of Muslim America. For more than a century, Dearborn has been home to Lebanese, Iraqi, Yemeni, and Palestinian families who built institutions that now feel woven into the city's DNA. Massive mosques, community centers, schools, restaurants, bakeries, bookstores, and businesses passed from one generation to the next. The city's food scene alone is good enough to justify a plane ticket, and with Muslim residents making up a huge share of the population, it's the closest thing the US has to a Muslim-majority hometown. Family-centered, community-driven, culturally rich, and endlessly welcoming, it stands as an example of what happens when people build their lives in one place for generations. So there you have it. A cross-country snapshot of places where Muslim identity isn't a footnote, but a foundational part of neighborhood life. Whether you're looking for community, culture, great food, or just a deeper understanding of America's incredible diversity, these cities show how beautifully layered and interconnected the United States truly is. If you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already,